spite of my purest intention, I push you and push you away. I try to shoot holes in a solid foundation, when really I just want to say that I would rather be loved than be right. And I don't want to choose words out of spite. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Columbine Spiritual Center. We're centered in God. We celebrate a world of harmony, peace, and abundance for all. Please join us as we sing about the truth of who we really are. I am as God created me. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am.
Well, here we are again on another beautiful Sunday morning. We keep bringing it down to less and less people here in the church. We've got 4 or 5 of us here making it all happen, and we're just so glad that you're here with us today. It means so much that we can feel you here together and singing at your homes and still continuing to have the Columbine unity spirit.
Now, this is a round.
I was going to say this is a round, so you can pick whatever side you like.
We'll get you started together, and then Rachel will be the alpha. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am.
beautiful. Thank you for that start. What a great set of words, right, as we move into some time in meditation together. I think a lot of people think that prayer is something that we do from our heads. But the most powerful thing we can do is to bring ourselves to that inner space, the quiet and the stillness, and to let the prayer come from there. For you see, that is the realm of all possibility. I don't really believe that we're going to be able to solve any of the world's problems from the consciousness that already exists. We need to open to this realm of possibility. And so I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And with those deep breaths, begin to turn within. Let those breaths relax you. And sweet, loving Spirit, we allow ourselves this morning to settle, to recognize that while it can seem like quite a dichotomy, that the stillness, the quiet, the sense of peace would be the source of all. And yet it is from this ground that all guidance emerges, that we have that experience of direct knowing in the moment, that in fact, our very being manifests as us. And so we allow our mind to open. We allow our heart to open. We are an empty vessel, ready to receive. And we recognize that much of the process of walking this planet and being aware is this process of getting out of the way. And so we consciously invite that which is in our way to be revealed. Reveal what needs to be revealed this morning. Heal what needs to be healed. We bring to this space this morning all of our fears, inviting them to be transformed in this very energy, to calm us. We are calmed in this moment. Our fears begin to loosen and dissolve in this very moment through our intent and our willingness. And we're ready to be healed. Healed at depth. We know that your nature is about bringing wholeness and healing. We know that your nature is inherently loving, a love well beyond human love. No conditions, ready to hold us and to hold all of humanity. As we allow ourselves to even settle further, maybe taking another deep breath, we bring to mind those on our prayer list and those that are in the prayer list here at Columbine, enveloping them in this presence, which is love and light. Recognizing that whatever is going on in their lives, in our lives, Spirit's got it. And we will be guided. For this opportunity to connect, for this opportunity to abide in our nature as the Christ, we give thanks. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Rachel and I were talking before the service, and we wanted to point out, because there's so much change that's going on, that at the screen that you're looking, I think down in the lower corner, maybe, is that right, Kevin? There is a donate button. And so we're going to be taking a love offering, a virtual love offering, although a real love offering, but you won't be here to be able to put something in the bag. But we wanted to orient you towards that, and so that at that point you're not scrambling, you have some sense of how it is that you can continue to generously support us as you have generally supported us and kept us alive and vibrant through this time of change. What do you guys have for us?
We're going to sing a song that Janice wrote, and it's gorgeous, and we sang it together a couple times, and it's just such a beautiful song. Thank you for writing such amazing music, Janice. It's love that shines in me.
It's love that shines. I ask today for compassion toward the great and toward the small. I ask today for right action. May I always heed the call. I ask today for the courage to be kind to every living thing that I encounter, in body or in mind. This holy flower is growing in my heart. This heavenly light is glowing in my soul for all to see. It's love that shines in me. It's love that shines.
I ask today for intention. May I mind the words I say. I ask today that possession never stand in my own way. I ask today for the consciousness to find a path that heals all pain and suffering for me and all mankind. This holy flower,
This holy flower is growing in my heart.
and this heavenly light, oh, this heavenly light
It's glowing in my soul for all to see. It's love that shines in me. It's love that shines. This holy flower, this holy flower is growing in my heart.
it's growing in my heart.
This heavenly light,
oh, this heavenly light
is glowing in my soul for all to see. It's love that shines in me. It's love that shines. Please join us on that. Oh, Mane Padme. Oh, Mane Padme. It's love that shines in me.
Beautiful. Thank you both. So I suppose the question of the hour is, how are you doing? Life has a interesting way, doesn't it, of unfolding situations that allow us to see how realized we really are, and there's nothing like a pandemic to really sort of bring that to the forefront. So how are you? How are you doing? You don't have to answer out loud. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's all just an indicator. What is it that maybe still needs to be looked at? Where am I reacting versus responding? For you see, as we clear out the belief system that causes us to react, the hurts and the related reactions that come from those are the overlays that we put of the people in the past into today's people. All of that stuff keeps us from seeing with a perfect spiritual lens. Remember our theme this year, 2020 vision, seeing with a spiritual lens. We've been working with the Four Agreements. This is a book written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the premise of this book, as is the premise of virtually every spiritual teaching, is that unless we have begun to do the exploration of these things that stand in the way of us simply being our nature, our Christ nature, then we are not seeing what's going on around us clearly. As Don Miguel says, we are, well, let me put it this way. He says first that what we have the opportunity to be seeing is everything in our life reflecting back love, reflecting back light. And if that's not what we're seeing, then we are being reflected back through a smoky mirror, through a lens that is not quite clear. We've talked about the Four Agreements, and the premise of this book is if that we can begin to adopt and practice, and I emphasize the word practice because if you're working them, you know it's probably going to be a lifelong practice of living from these four simple agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And as Sue beautifully taught last week, and always do your best. That by following these four agreements, that it's going to highlight for us anything that's not in alignment with the truth and begin to wipe that lens clean. That we'll be able to see with a clear, spiritual, 2020 vision lens. So today we move into breaking old agreements. I grew up in a unity that said nearly constantly, just let it go. But what we're discovering is that there's a whole mechanism within our ego structure that keeps us from just letting it go, that needs to be worked, and needs to be worked consciously and directly in order for us to transcend, transform old patterns into new freedom. And the main culprit that holds it all together is the judge. And I love talking about the judge. And the reason for that is that when I was exposed to the judge, I suppose probably about 20 to 23 years ago, it changed my life. I live a very different life experience than I did before that time. I want everyone to know about the judge. The judge is a part of our ego structure that holds us to a standard that is unachievable, that has all sorts of rules for us and enforces those rules ruthlessly in us. We know when we have gone against the book of rules, as Don Miguel says, of the judge, because we hurt. It hurts us in our upper belly and our solar plexus, and we don't like to hurt. So we tend to go along with the rules, but they're not our rules. They're rules that were indoctrinated into us by our parents, by the church we grew in, by the culture we grew up in. We have learned to conform. Of course, as a kid, a certain amount of that is important, right? If we didn't have the judge as a kid, we would be living in a very different culture right now. It would be hard for us to come together in cities, even any kind of community, because the energy of a child needs to be brought in, needs to be controlled. But we're adults now, and we still live by that judge. Don Miguel has an interesting comment about the judge. The problem with most people is that they live their lives and never discover that the judge and the victim rule their mind, and therefore they don't have a chance to be free. Now, he mentions the victim in here. I just want to point out that from a unity teaching, that's our inner child, an unsupported inner child. Don Miguel tends to, in this chapter, to hold the child out as our nature. We would take exception to that. But here's what he says, and there's quite a bit of truth to it. The real you is still a little child who never grew up. Sometimes that little child comes out when you're having fun or playing, when you feel happy, when you're painting or writing poetry or playing the piano or expressing yourself in some way. These are the happiest moments of our life, when the real you comes out, when you don't care about the past, you don't worry about the future, you're childlike. You get the sense, right, that he's almost talking about our child as if it's our true nature. And we don't hold that in unity. And my personal experience is the same, that our child is a very important part in us. The child captures wonderful energies that are for, at least initially captures. As we begin to see them and work them, they're actually freed up. But those energies are energies like love, and the child is great at not only curiosity, but creativity. The child brings tremendous spontaneity and a fearlessness to us. These are all qualities that tend to make our life fun and rich. And also through that curiosity, an opportunity to continue to experience life from many different dimensions. When that child is supported, we experience, or have the potential at least, to experience all those qualities I mentioned. But when the child is attacked, and you see our inner child has no defenses, it's innocent, it hurts when it's attacked, and it really hurts. That's the pain that we feel when we experience judgment. Then it becomes what Don Miguel calls the victim. It is the helpless, wanting to be taken care of, wanting life to conform to it, wanting just to be free of the attack, whether it's internal or external. Don Miguel does something that I also am constantly trying to do. The challenge, the reason that we don't recognize the judge is that it's so much a part of our inner voice. And we haven't been taught to discern. We haven't even really been taught to discern the child, to discern the judge, to discern the pusher. There's so many entities within our ego structure, and including our true nature, right? That they are different energies, different voices for us to get to know. And so, as a spiritual counselor or as an author like Don Miguel, we're always trying to find something that will kind of help you wake up. I always like to use the analogy, if you walked by a kid that was getting beat up by a big bully, would you just stand there and watch? No. You would do something, right? Or he uses the analogy of a parasite and says there's a parasite that's feeding on you. A parasite is a living being who lives off the other living being, sucking their energy without any useful contribution in return and hurting their host little by little. We got a parasite inside of us. We try to give you these dramatic illustrations because the judge has quite a hold on us. You see, one of the main things that the judge was to bring down in us, to control in us, was our strength. Our essential quality of strength allows us to know our truth, allows us to stand in our truth, allows us to call BS when it's BS, allows us to really align with who we are. And yet, the judge is going to get riled up if we come out in a strong way, in a powerful way. And yet, we need that quality to shut the judge down, to be able to say, stop, or like a kid does, no. You think about a 2 or 3-year-old, they're really good at that. No, I won't. We need that same kind of energy, that energy that's been domesticated out of us. So let's check in for ourselves. I want you just to pause for a moment and to imagine with me that you have a bat or a tennis racket or something similar to that, something where you can really get a good swing. And I want you to imagine going into your bedroom, and I want you to whack on that bed like there's no tomorrow. And on top of that, I want you to scream or at least say with all the power you can, no. Check it out. And I'd love to hear how that is for you. For some people, it's going to be just fine. I can tell you after 20 years or plus years of working with the judge, I have no problem with it at all. But wow. In the beginning, all sorts of experiences came up for me. Feelings of not being acceptable or not being loved, of going, upsetting my mother. Anything can be brought into a belief about being strong, being powerful. Let's see what kind of comments you're making. Will they just be coming up? Okay, they're going to be just coming up. So I'll pause for a minute. Gosh, it's kind of cool. You get to see yourself when you're on this thing. While the comments are coming up, I'll press on. It's important for us to be able to use our strength, not to kill the judge, but to simply set a boundary. Remember, the judge is trying to help us. It just needs to be stopped. Because in truth, and this is the sad part to me, the judge only attacks the child, not any other part of our dynamic of personalities within us. Only the child. And yet the child brings all these wonderful qualities that enhance our life. And so we want to set a boundary with the judge so that we can begin to discover, what am I really? What is it that I really enjoy? Now, there's one other piece. There's a lot in this chapter. I can assure you, I could probably talk for days about the judge. So I've had to really pare it down today. Oh, my phone's jumping around. Does that mean that people are saying things? I can see that a text just came in for me. Let's see if it's... Oh, Stuart says, just pretend that it's your partner. Okay, well, I'm coming home, though, in a few hours, Stuart. We got to have some fun, right? So I want to bring up, though, a piece that Don Miguel offered us that, again, I don't think is, well, I think that it's presented maybe a little too simply in the book. He says that, well, let me just take a step back because I thought this was kind of fun and maybe just a little bit morbid, but what attracted me was, this is in the chapter, part of the chapter that says the initiation of death, embracing the angel of death. Maybe not such a timely subject, right? And yet, at the same time, we know this premise, to live as if this is our last day to live, or to live as if this is our last week. And he said, what are you going to do? He said, well, of course, you're going to either play the victim, you're either going to be an undefended child that is going to be overwhelmed and thinks you need to figure this out and tell everyone that you're dying and, everything, or you're going to come in, set a boundary with your judge, support the child, and you're going to go out and do what you want to do. And he says, why not live your life every day that way? Well, I want to point out that I think that's a bit simplified. Instead of talking about picking something that makes you happy, you'll hear me more often saying, following that which makes you feel more fulfilled. Let me give you an example from my life that may illustrate why I think that terminology is more important. I shared with you years ago that I got asked to be the keynote speaker at Unity's, what do they call it? I think, is it still called the People's Conference or Worldwide Conference? And I initially said yes. But then all of my belief system came up, which is a belief system, of course, that makes me feel like I'm inadequate, that I'm self-separate, that I can be shamed, all the stuff that's unique to my, or maybe not so unique to my belief system. And a couple of weeks later, just feeling locked up and like I couldn't possibly pull this off, I called them back and said, I'm going to need to pass. Then I went to the conference. And when I heard the talk of the person that they brought in to replace me, I went, oh, I would have liked to have done that. I could have done that. I think I could have done, actually, I thought I could have done a better job. And I realized that if we're going to go just on what makes us happy, just on what feels good, we're not necessarily ever going to step out and challenge the judge. Because I can bet you that if my judge wasn't present in those 2 weeks eating on me that I was never going to be able to pull this off, at least my child was so conditioned not to step out and get my nose cut off that it was saying, that it was in anxiety and victimized by it and saying, I'm being tortured by this and let's get out of it. And so, does that mean that the issues naturally go away? No, they need to be worked. I mean, the funny thing around our house right now is that I've been asked to do one of Silent Unity's healing prayer services. Everything at Unity has now gone to virtual. They do at 11 o'clock in the morning every day a prayer service. They've dramatically shortened it. And so I've just been asked to do a 5-minute little piece. And yet all the issues are up. You would think that I was going to be speaking to millions. I have been tense. I've had this incredible desire to say, call them up and say, I can't do it. But this time, I know that I want to do it. This time, I'm aware that it's just my issues coming up, and I have an opportunity to get the judge off my back, to support the child, which has been interesting. I rarely do much preparation for these talks. Some of you probably already are aware of that. I thought I could just sit down and do a 5-minute prayer. But so much static came up in the field. Tension, anxiety, messages. I mean, the whole quagmire was getting stirred. That I realized I'm going to have to support myself in a different way. Whereas I rarely write out a talk anymore, I actually wrote out a prayer. And in fact, I tried just reading the prayer. That made my child very happy, but came off kind of cardboardy. Not what I wanted. So I started just relaxing then into realizing I could write it. Can I say it? And an interesting transition happened for me. Instead of dreading doing it, it was like learning how to play ball. And I wanted to do it over and over again, to the point that Stuart finally said, enough of the prayer. The joys of being in a relationship. So I'm curious. I don't know if anybody's gotten back to me. Okay, cool. Let's see what the comments are, and then I'm going to pose another one, and then we'll close it. Whoops. Do I go to Facebook? Yes. All right, let's see what we've got. Tell me what they are, because they're not showing up here. Oh, here they are. No? What did Eileen say? Come to your microphone.
Eileen said, I'm discovering multiple aspects of my personality that often have conflicting needs and desires. I think it's important to honor all aspects of my personality. Everyone gets to have a seat at the table.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And just to know, again, that we're not totally discounting the judge, but the judge can tend to be that entity that never stops talking at the table. And so you're just setting a boundary with it. Stop. Let us have a breath here. Anybody else?
Linda also said, I think this alone time has given my child space to come more alive. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah,
for letting it happen.
That's wonderful. And for some of you, your child may be really feeling cooped in. So again, an opportunity to support the child in a different way.
Jean says, nothing much great or better happens in our comfort zone.
That is so true. Thank you, Jean. Okay. So I want to ask you another question, and we'll see if you can respond as quickly as you can so that we can move on. But do you have an example from your life where you wanted to say yes, but then the the committee of limiting beliefs, let's call it, came up, and you did not. And how did it leave you feeling? And if you feel some embarrassment about sharing that, we won't share names on this one. But it's so good to get out of the shadows and just put it out there. Or if you two have something that you want to share, not to put you on the spot. I can hardly imagine Rachel not doing whatever she wanted to do, the courageous woman on our staff. Oh, good. Janice has one to share.
I notice that things come up for me when I'm kind of testing the universe, and I was invited to lead a women's retreat this next fall, and oh my gosh, it's been on like a bucket list forever to be useful and fulfilled in that way. And man, as soon as I got the call, it was like, no way, I'm way too busy. I've got way too much else going on. I couldn't possibly do that, to the point that I even, I missed the call. Like I stood them up when I was supposed to talk to the committee. And boy, that brought up for me, it brought up shame, and it brought up also a question of like, do I really want what I say that I want? And I loved what you said about if it's going to make me happy as opposed to if it's going to make me feel more purposeful.
Yep.
So it really felt like a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Janice. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. That is a great example. Okay, good. Here's one that says, I've done that often and have found myself regretting not taking action. That's a huge piece, right? Regret is a great indicator that that was an opportunity for us. Lots of people giving me thumbs up on this. Yeah, good. Let's see. I think do you see anything else, Rachel, on there? Okay, good. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm noticing as that almost all my life is in front of a screen now, that it can become tiring. And so our intent today is not to run anywhere near an hour. It's time for me to bring this to a close. Have fun this week playing with the judge. Maybe it's time to pull out that tennis racket or that bat and beat on it, just to let your body reconnect with what it's like to be strong, to be powerful, so that you can use that energy to really come at the judge from the place of stop, enough, and then begin to work with the child within, to support that child, so that you too can come to a place where you're bringing a childlike joy, spontaneity, creativity, and love to the new experiences of your life, breaking the old agreements. All right. Let's move into some meditation, shall we? Thank you. I was thinking it was music. See, I'm conditioned, right? Take a nice deep breath again. We're going to move into that same kind of place that we moved into the opening prayer. And we're going to spend just a couple of minutes reconnecting. I want you to notice that when you're not being pushed on, when you're not being prodded, how that when you turn within, it's quiet, it's still, it's peaceful. This is the resting state of your nature. ready to leap into action as you. But this is a totally trusting, relaxed state, fearless, courageous. And so, when it's not needed, it's quiet. We're quiet. We're peaceful. And nothing can disturb this peace within. And so we rest here, and we come back to this place every time we turn within. So I invite you now to simply rest. And if you find yourself pulled away by thoughts, just come back and rest in the silence. I invite you to gently come back into the space that you're currently in. And it occurs to me that in order to lock in just how beautifully supportive this energy is, let's say the prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is.
you. What a beautiful morning. I have just felt, looking at the people that are there and the comments and all the little hearts and the laughy faces and the thumbs up, and it just is so remarkable that we get to continue to spend this time together, and it's a blessing to me to work here and get to sing with Janice and be with Scott and Sue, so thank you so much. So this is the time in our service where we'd like to take our love offerings. There is the donate button on our Facebook page, and that is without any fees. You can also go to our website, and there's a donate button on the website. And if you have any questions,
You can also send checks.
you can also send checks. I was going to say that we received some really beautiful cards and notes with checks here in the mail that were just so heartfelt, and it just means so much to us that you continue to support our community, and we feel so passionate about continuing to support you. So let's say our love offering together.
God's love has always met and will always meet all my needs. I give freely, I receive abundantly, and I am grateful.
So we're just going to do short announcements. There's some of the ways that you can give, and just if you go to if you shop on Amazon, a lot of us are shopping on Amazon right now. If you actually do smile.amazon, you could choose Columbine as your charity of choice, and we get a percentage, and it's pretty surprising how much Amazon I do. So
And how it adds up.
and how it adds up. So thank you for that. So what are our announcements? I didn't bring up my little sheet. Bonnie's over here helping us. So today, from 1 to 3, we are doing the Zoom final Unity Basics class, which is going to be done by Sue from the comfort of her home, and it's called Personal Transformation. And if you are on the path to voting membership, this is one of the required classes. If you're at home and you just want more information about personal transformation and want to get on the Zoom workshop, please join us. We would love to have you. In the e-bulletin that I sent out is the link for that. And if you are interested in attending, you can also go to our website, and in the calendar on the event for today is the Zoom link as well. So if you are interested. The other is we are still doing our spring program, and we're really excited. This is how we as a community connect and really get in deeper with each other and ourselves. And so we're working on doing the spring program by Zoom. It's going to be 10 people per group. It's still going to be the 7 weeks, and we're doing Radical Compassion by Tara Brock, and it's another thing that now you can buy on the Amazon Smile, Kindle, our hard version, and there's also an audio version, and those will be coming out soon. We'll send out an email for everybody to do sign-ups, and we have, I think, 15 groups. The other is, if you look on the calendar on our website, you will see that every group that met here, almost 99% of them are still meeting via Zoom. And so those invites or the contact information to reach the leader of that group to get the Zoom meeting invite is available there. So if you have any questions about Zoom, you can email me. My email is on the website, and we can help you out. But we really want to continue to connect via Zoom, which leads us to, after church today, is Zelloship. Last week we had like 40 people online, and it was so much fun to see everyone's little faces, and then we got broken up into smaller groups so that we could visit. So we'd love to have you join us for Zelloship. Again, the Zoom meeting invite is on the e-bulletin that was emailed out this morning at 9, or you can go into the calendar on the website and find the link. And we would love for you all to join us and for us to see each other's faces. And it has been a real pleasure. I've seen some people that were online that don't attend our church regularly. Please come and be part of us as well. We'd love to meet you on a deeper level.
That's awesome. I want to give 2 little plugs. Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. We're doing mid-morning musical moment on our Facebook Live page. Just 15 minutes of joy songs, meditation chants, and some breathing together. We go early on Wednesdays, 9:40, so that I can be at my staff meeting on Zoom. And then on Good Friday, which is, what is that, the 10th of April, April 10th, we're going to do a Godspell sing-along. And we're just starting to put the little touches on that, but we hope that you'll tune in and join us for that as well.
So our final piece is prayer chaplains. We have such an amazing prayer chaplain team, and they are really, really anxiously waiting to be available for prayer support. So in the e-bulletin that was sent out is a list of the prayer chaplains that are available today for the next hour or so to call if you would like some prayer support. And they just call them and leave a message if they didn't answer, and they'll call you back and they will say a prayer with you. So that's it.
Beautiful.
So
do
we
our
are so
peace sign.
grateful to have you today. Let's say our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
We'll see you at Fellowship, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.